Hello, fellow.
ドクタ
Welcome to Simple Sandman's
ー、アークナイツ
Story Skipper series. This is a mini-series highlighting the main story without reading it word for word. Though instead of figuring out a good acronym for this mini-series without making various cultural/historical references, let's get into the sauce without getting too sticky. December 23rd, 1096. You wake up from a deep sleep, unaware of where you are or how you were brought to this undisclosed location. A young girl by the name of Amiya is frantically trying to explain the immediate situation, but the facility suddenly becomes under attack. You're referred to as the
ドクター
who seems to be more like a leader of an elite group than a medical professional. This need for a leader is conveyed through a desperate request from Amiya to assume the position of a field commander to lead your squad out of a mysterious facility. After getting out of the facility that you were sleeping in, you start off the main story with urban chaos in a dystopian city called Chernobog. It's the kind of chaos that disregards your fellow man and just fend for yourselves. You even have a small child screaming, Mama, Mama, in the middle of a riot. One of the guards protecting Ursus, the country this scene takes place in, cries out, "Forget about the civilians! Hold the line first! There are too many masked goons coming!" These masked goons belong to a rebellious faction called the Reunion Movement, a militant organization of the infected who seeks to end all forms of discrimination and oppression brought on by Terran society. I'll explain who the infected are later, but as you can see, their methods are rather aggressive and radical for what sounds like a peaceful ideology. This riot, however, didn't come out of nowhere. The Reunion members have finally made their move after a period of planning, as mentioned by Doberman. Her observation kicks off the introduction of a few operators in your company, Rhodes Island Pharmaceuticals Incorporated. Doberman, by the way, is the drill instructor in Rhodes Island, meaning she trains the new operators. The other notable character is Amiya, a 14-year-old chimera/cactus who is the figurehead of Rhodes Island. She is one of the main characters in the main story and will be with you a lot. Many people at the beginning of this game's launch, oh goodness, thought she was part donkey, but she is actually part rabbit/hare. You'll come to find out that nearly everyone in
アークナイツ
has some kind of animal trait to distinguish their racial lineage in this dystopian world called Terra, which is very similar to Earth in terms of its planet's properties. This game is very thick with lore. It's so thick, some would want this game's thighs to crush their heads like a watermelon. If that's you, throw a like on this video. However, if that's not you, leave a comment with a better metaphor of how you would want to dive deep into its... So, you're the
ドクター
of Rhodes Island, the actual leader of the company. You were rescued by Amiya, Doberman, and their ragtag rescue squad. Of course, in typical visual novel fashion, your character is a man of few words, though the few female depictions of the
ドクター
are indeed good civ, since the
ドクター
gender is player determined. Mine is male, so you'll hear me refer to the
ドクター
as he/him out of habit. After the first playable mission, 0-1, you ask Amiya why the woman you rescued feared Amiya's infection so much. She kept screaming stuff like, "Don't hurt my children! Let us go!" What is this infection, you ask? Well, the
ドクター
asks Amiya in a roundabout way by asking why the woman feared her. Before she answers your question, she comments about how you've asked a similar question before, even though this is your first time as the player hearing about it. This confirms any suspicion that you, the
ドクター
have amnesia. You end up finding out that most people at Rhodes Island are infected, including Doberman and Amiya. The infection comes from a terminal disease called oropathy, which is caused by direct or prolonged exposure to originium. Originium is essentially a toxic energy source that can power anything from technology to magic. also known as Originium Arts. Many people in the world of Terra treat oropathy like the bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death. In certain areas like Ursus, the country you're currently in, they treat the infected harshly. So harshly, the general population is taught through social engineering that hunting down the infected is not only a good thing, but they even commend you for it. If it isn't already apparent, this game doesn't pull any punches on controversial topics like xenophobia, racism, and social ethics. Doberman mentioned that your relation to the oropathy issue is due to you being a cutting-edge oropathy researcher, making you a viable member of this ongoing crisis. Your company, Rhodes Island, is looking for a cure to the infection as well as problems associated with the infected. This isn't just a pharmaceutical company, but a private military organization as well. At the end of the initial fight, Doberman mentions that we only have 3 hours before Chernobog is consumed by the catastrophe. Catastrophes are natural disasters on steroids that leave behind originium crystals, which are the materialized form of the toxic energy source. Even in a situation like this, the state televised news is spreading propaganda about how the Chernobog military police has already contained the rebellion. However, the guards are having mental breakdowns and want to retreat, but their captains remind them that anyone who turns tail will be executed on the spot, just like the Soviets did during World War II. As you evacuate, you engage in conflict with a few reunion squads, alongside meeting with other members of Rhodes Island, like Ace, a defender. Doberman recalls in her past conflicts how a leader like the one running this riot is using oppressed infected as sheep, though as soon as they've served their purpose, they are left to their own devices. We meet Crown Slayer, one of the more notable squad leaders in Reunion, though before you get to have a true fight with her, a young man named Mephisto sends her home and will take over the situation as the antagonist in this prologue. He wants you, the Doctor, to satiate his personal curiosity for how you lived in that facility, but Amiya and the rest of the crew won't give you up without a fight. As you and your operators fight your way through Mephisto's calculated attacks, the overwhelming odds start to wear everyone down. All of a sudden, Nerl, the Radiant Knight, swoops in as your knight in shining armor. Get it? She's your knight and... Doctor! I'm sorry, I thought it was funny. It was gonna be, haha, just, it was just... Okay, fine. Oh, God. Where was I? Oh, yes. Nerl antagonizes Mephisto by making astute remarks of how other Reunion forces work like a well-oiled machine, while his forces are just bringing chaos wherever they go to satisfy his sadistic fetish. Out of his newly hurt pride, however, Mephisto calls out to his ace in the hole, Faust, to snipe Nerl through the mouth. Nerl was able to block the shot with her shield, barely, which shows how Faust is not to be taken so lightly with his ballista-like crossbow. All of a sudden, Faust's second attempt to land a shot on Nerl was swiftly blocked by Ace. He then prompts the Rhode Island snipers to fire upon the direction Faust shot from. After the battle, Mephisto calms down from the defeat and orders Faust to track down Rhodes Island, while he goes back to report to Tallulah, the true commander of the bloodshed brought to Chernobog. Thank you so much for making it this far. This is my first time putting together a summary video, and I didn't know how well it would turn out. If you enjoyed this, throw a like to encourage me to make more. Leave a comment with any constructive comments or critiques so I can better tailor to your watching/listening experience. I knew the prologue would be difficult given how little official art is out there alongside the characters featured in this episode. We have one more part before the official story begins, but we will get through this together. So, with that, I wish you a good day. Doctor.